Hi there, yoga friends. I'm Jen. Welcome. Today's class, being kind to oneself, or just simply be kind, is a yin flow. Each of the postures in this video have been broken down in the Yoga Help Series. So if you're moving through and something doesn't feel right for you, go ahead and take a look over there to reference different ways you can make this flow work for your body. If this is the first time you visit the channel, please remember to click subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on any other great classes. Let's begin. I like to start every class with a little bit of a meditation. Because this is a yin class, we're going to take this meditation from the floor. So go ahead and come sideways onto your mat. We're going to take the soles of the feet to the floor in front of us and the hands behind us to help ease ourselves down as we roll onto our backs here. Lay the shoulders down onto the floor, head to the floor here. And once you're down comfortably, we're going to draw the fingertips down towards the heels. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, and then just flip your palms here up towards the ceiling, straining out through the spine. And then we're going to heel toe our feet together. The soles of the feet touch. We're going to drop our knees wide. This is the reclined butterfly in Yin, also known as Supta Baddha Konasana. We'll take our meditation from here. So I'll invite you to close your eyes. And we'll come into an Ujjayi pranayama, which is just a breath rhythm, where we take an equal inhalation and exhalation. And this equality is for the rate of the inhalation, as well as the length of both the in and out breath. Every yogic breath starts at the abdominal center, where we soften, let the belly puff out, and fill up through the side ribs and the front and the back of the chest. We exhale completely after a short pause from the top of the chest all the way down to the navel. We're going to go ahead and just take another 5 really calm, even breaths here with a gentle focus in the heart center. One last breath in here. And draw the navel gently towards the spine and use your hands here, either side of your thighs, to help assist the knees to point up to the ceiling. Take the soles of the feet back to the floor, hip distance apart. And from here, we're just going to drop our knees, right and left windshield, wiping the knees, releasing the spine. And from here, we'll bring the knees back to point to the ceiling and just stretch the legs long to rest in Shavasana for a couple of breaths. It's always nice to pause in between postures. This practice is called Be Kind. And the reason why we've named this flow Be Kind is to remind you with every inhalation and with whatever thought, story, or sensation arrives within your body, to greet it with gentle kindness and love, no matter what the thought is, returning to the calm center of the breath and the heart space. Let's go ahead now and draw the heels back towards your glutes. We're going to roll over to the right or the left here. And come into a fetal position and then gently make our way back into a comfortable seat. So for this next posture, the swan, We're going to take the left shin here parallel to that top corner of the mat and the right shin parallel to that long edge of your mat. Take your left hand next to your left hip here, press down. See if you can even out through the hips, lifting tall through the spine. You may feel a little bit funny through the hips, and that's okay. Maybe you feel a little bit tight. And then from here, we're going to take the hands forward and start to walk the hands away from your body, maybe coming onto your forearms. If you have a bolster at home or a block that you might like to use so that the torso is not as low, you can help support your body that way. If you want to go deeper, we're going to straighten the right leg behind us and square the hips to the front edge of the mat while keeping that left hip on the floor. Make sure that you draw your left toes towards your shin at all times, creating a bandha for the left knee. If you need to, you can draw your left heel closer to your groin, which will make this stretch a little bit easier for you to do that. From here, we're just going to soften in to our comfortable stretch as far as you like to take it. Maybe the forehead can come to the floor, maybe not, that's okay. If the forehead comes to the floor, let's turn the palms to the ceiling and we'll take 5 deep yet smooth breaths here. Last breath in, a sense of softening through anywhere you feel the most tension. Turn the palms to the floor, glide them back, press into the palms, raise the torso, roll to the left. Draw that right leg forward. We're going to take the right heel in front of the left shin and draw that left heel next to the right glute. We're just going to release that posture by hugging the right shin into the torso, pressing the hips forward, lengthening up through the spine, but drawing the shoulders down the back. And this is a really lovely way to sort of teach the spine how to sit tall in the easy seat. As we're using the arms here to help assist us, we gently notice how that posture really softened us. Just take 1 or 2 more breaths here. No twisting today. If your eyes are closed, gently open them. And we're going to release the hands behind us now. So we're going to glide that right heel forward here. And we're just going to take that left heel a little bit more over to the left. We're going to stack that right knee right on top of the left knee. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you can straighten that left leg here, and there are some other videos and options there for you if you take a look at the Yoga Help Series. If you're okay to do so, keep those knees stacked here, press those heels forward, and come into your comfortable seat. So nice tall spine, sit bones on the floor. Take your hands just below your right knee here and just press gently into the floor, lifting up through the heart and drawing the shoulders away from the ears. 2 breaths here. And gently open the eyes and we'll release the hands. We're going to come into a forward fold. If that doesn't seem appealing to you and you don't want to go there, sitting tall is fine. And we're going to give a stretch for our wrists here. I'm going to turn the fingertips back towards our hips and place the tops of the hands to the floor. Now, you want to be gentle with your wrist joints, so not too much pressing, really just resting the tops of the hands to the floor here, a sense of lifting up through the heart space and folding down. Take the gaze to neutral, so there's length for the front and the back of your neck. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here, softening the breath, really allowing your body to sink down in through to the hips. really slowly here, we're going to unravel the wrists, sit back tall, and we're going to take our hands together here to interlace. With the hands interlaced, we're going to start to make a figure 8 with the wrists without moving the elbows, just the wrists moving. Follow the direction in your mind that the wrists are making, and then pause. Change the direction of your wrist circles and figure 8s. Release your hands, give your shoulders a little circle, and then we're going to release the legs. Take them out in front of you, give your hips a nice little massage here, maybe even the knees. And then we get ready for that second side. So we're going to take the right shin now, parallel to the front of the mat, and the left down the long edge. Right fingertips next to the right hip. Press down through the right hands and just see if you can square your hips. You won't, but we're just working towards. Take a couple of breaths here. And then we'll take our hands forward to the front of the mat. And again, we're just going to come down to wherever we feel comfortable. And you're going to notice that both sides of the body feel a little bit different as you come into the second sides. You may not be able to go as far, and that's okay. We do try to repeat somewhat the same thing, but not if it's causing you discomfort or pain. So really listen to what your body's saying to you. You are your own guru or teacher. What we're going to do here is stay, or again, straighten that left leg along the floor. And we're going to walk the hands back in. If you're straightening the leg along the floor, line up the left hip, knee, and ankle. Square the hips forward. Make any sort of adjustments you need with the right ankle, either taking it closer to the groin or to the front edge of your mat. Making sure that it feels good for your body. And then we'll come back down into our forward fold on this side. Settling into wherever you feel comfortable. And we'll take 5 calm, deep breaths here. One last breath here, softening through the face, the jaw, anywhere where you're feeling tension. We'll turn the palms down. Walk them back in towards the torso. Roll to the right. Sweep that left leg forward. Left heel in front of the right shin. Take that right heel a little bit closer to the left glute. And we're going to hug that left thigh into the torso, just sitting tall. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, soft gaze forward, maybe close the eyes for 3 breaths. And gently open the eyes. And again, we come into the cow face posture on the second side. So first option here, we have the right leg straight. If you have lower back problems or knee issues, you can always support, explained in the Yoga Help Series. Or if you are okay both through the back and the knees, then you want to stack your joints. This time with the left leg in front of the right, and we're shuffling the heels to your capacity forward away from your hips. We start here with our hands just gently pressing down on that top left upper thigh below the knee. We'll draw the shoulders away from the ears as we lift up through the heart space. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. A lovely way to loosen up through the hips. Gently open the eyes. And we're going to take our hands forward in front of us to the floor. Sense of lifting up through the heart. Now, if you want to stay seated, you can. And on the first side, we did a gentle wrist stretch. We're going to take the same stretch on this side here with the backs of the wrists to the floor. There are other options that you can take in the Yoga Help Series if you want to take a look. And we can just take the hands forward to your comfortable capacity. length for the front and the back of the neck. We'll take 4 or 5 breaths here, softening over the thighs. If that's too much for your wrists, please release. Last breath in here. Let's gently walk our hands back, raise up through the torso. Again, let's stretch out through the wrists. So we're going to interlace the fingers and start to circle the wrists into figure 8s without moving the elbows. I see a lot of people doing this because it can be quite confusing if it's your first time. So you're not alone if that's you. It's a really lovely way to reprogram the brain as I get you to pause and then change the direction of your wrists. There we go. Sort of takes the focus off of your hips as well, which you're probably noticing quite a bit by now. Let's release that. Give your hands a shake, your shoulders a roll back and forward, and we'll stretch the legs out on the front. This time, give your knees a nice little bounce. And before we go any further, let's glide those heels back towards the glutes. Hands support you behind you, and we'll drop the knees right to left. Just a gentle windshield. You're doing fabulous. Come back to our seat. So our next posture is the straddle. So you imagine that you're straddling a horse. We're going to take the legs wide. If you have problems here with your lower back at all, you might want to sit onto a blanket or maybe keep the knees well bent. It is explained in the series, Yoga Help Series. For this very first posture and entering into it, we're going to take the hands behind our back here, press into the palms. We're going to imagine that our hips are a bowl of water, so the front and the back of the hip girdle. And as we exhale here and draw the navel to the spine, we're going to roll the back of the hips behind us and imagine that we're spilling water out of that bowl behind us. Inhale, we're going to lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, tip the hips forward, spilling the water forward. Come back, inhale. Exhale, tip the water back. Inhale to a tall seat, using your hands to support you. Exhale, tipping the hips forward. Now you may want to just stay with that and repeat that if you're working with some lower back issues. If you're able to, we'll release the hands and just come to a tall spine with the hands at the heart center here. Really feeling the torso lengthen from the tail to the crown. Hands can support you either side of the hips if you need. Then we're going to release the hands to the floor. And taking the bow here from the hips, keeping a slight arch in the spine, we're going to start to walk the hands forward. Now, once you come to your capacity here with the spine arched and the gaze forward, then you can start to round through the spine in a yin practice. So you do want to come to your full capacity with the arch and then roll and maybe drop the chin. Softening. We're going to take about 8 breaths here. Really listening to the body, aware of the sensations that arise, practicing kindness, particularly to the mental thought process that may keep popping up throughout the practice. Maybe the way that we judge ourselves or others is quite critical. And this is where we start to practice ahimsa or non-violence within simply by being kind, loving acceptance for how we are in this moment, always returning back to the breath. You may want to take it a little bit deeper, folding forward. Just 2 or 3 more breaths. a sense of ease and softness in the face, jaw, and throughout the body. We're going to walk the hands back, rolling up through the spine, coming to sit tall. And using the muscles of our arms, we're going to scoop our hands under our knees, rock back onto the sit bones, lift the knees, hug them in, and then hug the arms around the knees. From here, hollow through the belly, draw the navel to the spine, tuck your chin towards your sternum, and allow your shoulders to drop forward. As you inhale, lift up through the heart, raise the gaze. Exhale, rounding, unite the movement with your breath. One last inhale, lifting and lengthening through the spine. And then we'll exhale to take it forward. One little last fun posture here. We're going to walk the toes, lift the heels, walk the toes back towards the glutes. And as we do that, the toe tips will lift off the floor. And just see if we can stay balanced here on the sit bones with the shoulders drawing away from the ears. A sense of softness in the face and the jaw. One last breath. Let's return our feet back to the floor. Take our hands behind us, and now we move into the saddle. So if you imagine, if the first one was the straddle with the legs wide, this one is the saddle with the body in the seat of the horse. So we're going to start just a half saddle for this practice. We're going to straighten the right leg, and we're going to roll to the right here and take that left heel next to the left hip. Our hands come to the fleshy bit of the left calf and draw it away from us so that you make room for your thigh beneath. We're going to hug our knees in towards each other to see if we can sit tall. If this doesn't feel good for your knees, I have given you variations in the Yoga Help Series under the saddle. So please look there if you would like to get some extra help. So from here, we're going to take our hands behind our back. The knees are squeezing together and pressing together. We're going to lift up through the hips here. Roll the top of the hips back. And then we're going to lower the hips back to the floor. And that's going to turn on this muscle here running down the front of the left thigh. You can stay where you are, or you can lower to your forearms here. And if it's comfortable for you to do so, you can lay back down and take hold of your opposite elbows. For those of you who are super flexible, you can always come into the full saddle with both knees bent. For most of us, though, having a single leg straddle is quite enough. And it does feel quite nice. We're going to be holding this for another 5 breaths. So I invite you to close your eyes. And as this can be a really strong posture, notice what arises for you in your mind, body, and in spirit. Greeting it with gentleness, returning to the breath. Just one more breath here. And release the hands next to the hips. We use our elbows to help come out of this. We're going to press into the elbows if you're in the full recline. And lift up. From here, we're going to roll to the straight leg side or the right side. And we're going to release that left leg. Let's come to lay flat for a moment into Shavasana here. With the palms turned up towards the ceiling, laying the body flat, releasing any tension that may be inside, and just gently noticing any subtle changes within the body. One last breath here. Let's bend both of the heels, take them in towards the bottom or roll over to the right or the left to make your way back to a comfortable seat. And then we'll take the second side of the straddle. So again, this time we're going to take the left leg long and we're going to roll to the left. Take that right heel next to the right hip. Draw the knees towards each other. And with your right hand to the fleshy bit of the calf, draw the calf away. And just see if you can sit here. Now this may be as far as you want to go. That's okay. Maybe you need to release this side and do something else. That's okay too. It's your practice. Do what's right for your body. If you're going deeper with me, we're taking the hands behind the hips. And then we're going to lift up through the hip girdle, draw the top of the hips back, and then sit the bottom back down, giving a deeper stretch to that front of the right thigh. Lowering to your comfortable capacity, maybe just to the forearms, and then maybe all the way down, easing with time. And again, if you're all the way down or if you're comfortable, let's close the eyes and take 5 really calm breaths here. Last breath in here, softening. Release the hands next to the hips. And again, we're going to roll this time to the left or dig the elbows into the floor to sit up halfway and then roll to the left. Release that right leg. Lay back down into Shavasana. And we just take a pause in our breath cycle here, or pause in the postures here. Not the breath cycle, we need to breathe. So we'll draw the shoulders away from the ears, turn the palms to the ceiling, let your feet drop out. Eyes gently closed, noticing how you feel within the body, bringing loving kindness to everything that arises, every sensation, every thought, every emotion, acknowledging and then returning to your breath. From here, gently open your eyes, and again, we're going to draw the heels in towards the glutes, roll to the right or the left, and pause. Just resting for a moment. And then we're going to roll all the way over onto our bellies. So if for some reason you are unable to lay on your belly, maybe you are pregnant and after your 16th week, you can always come into some tabletop cat-cows instead of the cobra or the seal and sphinx here. And again, all of that is covered in the Yoga Help Series. So what I'm going to get you to do here is come into cactus arms. So we're going to take the elbows here to shoulder height, point the fingers forward, and just turn your head to the right or the left as we set up through the body. So please take your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And we're going to just wiggle the hips from left to right. You may want to raise your heels to the ceiling and maybe windshield here. Just noticing if you're holding any tension through the back line of the body. So either holding in stillness, releasing, or windshield wiping. We'll take a couple of breaths. And then we're getting into the arching of the spine here, so the sphinx. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the forearms parallel to the front edge of the mat and take your thumbs and your first finger to hook into the opposite elbow. We're going to glide those elbows here underneath our shoulders. And again, just give a little wiggle to the hips so that we're softening for the front and the back of the hip girdle. This is the first variation of this posture which you can stay in, and you have the choice of either raising your gaze or dropping your chin down towards the sternum. You can stay here, or you can point your heels back up towards the ceiling, but only if you can maintain that softness through the front and the back of the hip girdle. You should feel a nice gentle compression through the lower spine here. Make sure that you're not clenching your teeth. Gently part your jaw, maybe wiggle your teeth from side to side or gently swallow. If you want to come a little bit deeper still, and this is an option, lower the feet to the floor first, and then take the forearms to point forward, the fingers forward, and then we just start to press down through the palms and walk the hands back to your comfortable capacity. You don't have to go all the way back to the hips, but walk the hands back towards the hips. Just allow yourself to settle in here. You can walk your hands back a little bit further towards the hips if that feels appropriate for your body this time. You may even want to bend the knees again and point the toes up towards the ceiling. Again, only if that feels appropriate for your body and you're able to maintain the softness through the front and the back of the hips. You may want to explore just by dropping the head forward, letting it be heavy, finding a stretch here in the back of the neck, or in raising the gaze, lifting the chin. Just choose the variation that serves you best. Let's take another 6 to 8 breaths here. Gently close your eyes and allow your awareness just to be on the breath. Prepare the body to release from the posture, moving slowly. If you have your legs raised, dropping them down first, and then rolling down one vertebra at a time wherever you are. Once you've come flat back to the mat, draw your hands back towards the heels. Draw the shoulders away from your ears and just take a moment here to settle in and let go of any tension. One final release here before we move into our rest. You have a choice, so you can choose either to push back here into child's pose, so taking the hips here back to the heels and stretching the hands forward. It's quite nice to release the spine. Another option that you might like to have just to strengthen through the core is to take your elbows here underneath the shoulder girdle and then to come up onto the knees. So you want to keep your hips low, draw the navel back to the spine, have some softness in the face and the jaw, so just a kneeling forearm plank. You can challenge yourself if you would like just by raising the knees off the floor and pressing back into the heels. Only hold for as long as you can. Maintain it comfortably, drawing the navel back without losing your form here. Softness in the face and the jaw. Let's go ahead and take those knees back to the floor. If they're not already there, just walk the hands back, tuck the toes under, and sink the forehead here to the floor. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. And then we'll gently release and make our way into Shavasana. So just come to lay onto the back, easing your way down and making sure that you're not feeling confined by any of your clothing. Maybe putting a blanket over yourself if that feels good. The hands either side of the hips with the palms facing up and the feet a little bit wider than hip distance here. Let's close our eyes. And again, draw the awareness onto the smooth quality of your breath. Letting go of any tension that you may still be holding on to. You can choose to stay here a little bit longer if you like. Otherwise, we'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then bend the knees, bring them in towards the hips, and we'll roll over to the right or the left, pausing with the head resting on the arm. And just take a moment to notice how you feel here after the practice in mind, body, and in spirit. We'll press down with that top hand and slowly ease our way back up to a seat. From here, let's take our hands to the heart. Sit tall. Take a smooth breath in and raise the hands high. Reach to the fingers. As you exhale, bring the palms to touch and take your hands back to the crown, the eyebrow center, to the throat, and to the heart. Om Tat Sat. Namaste. Thanks for joining me, friends. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Please remember to check out the Yoga Help, which I break down all of the yoga postures there to help give you assistance. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you. Have a lovely rest of your day.